Welcome in, everybody. After we smacked our Thursday night football parlay, we're back at it for Monday night football. We got the Bengals and Cowboys playing at the famous Cowboys Stadium. I'm with my man JJ. We're going to break everything down for you and give you a parlay at the end like we always do. So make sure you stay tuned in because you won't want to miss it. Welcome back in, everybody. JJ, how are we feeling?
Feeling refreshed over the weekend after that nice little win on Thursday. But I think this game is either going to be just a shootout or it's just going to be super low scoring. There's just no in between here.
Dude, I feel like any game that has the Bengals team involved can never be low scoring. I know it's prime time, but
That is true.
we've all seen that defense. We've all seen that offense. The Bengals will find some way to make sure there's points on the board. So, with that being said, let's get into it. We'll start with the Bengals side of the ball. And what are you seeing from the Dallas defense in terms of spots that we can pick on?
Yeah, so with the Dallas defense, they're not going to be giving up many yards downfield as far as the deep ball, but underneath is where they'd be giving up a lot. And I know Chase can definitely work that. He's usually been like the more underneath guy. Will occasionally get his explosive plays, but with T. Higgins back, T. Higgins has been more the downfield kind of guy. So I think here probably go with a little bit of Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Maybe some Chase Brown on the checkdowns. He's just been absolute workhorse lately.
Well, Dallas is weirdly solid against tight ends and running backs, which is not what you'd expect for a team that's good down the field. What's very interesting, though, is kind of like you said, their yards after catch per reception or per pass attempt is worse than the league. So when we think of Yak after the catch, we think of Deebo Samuel and Jamar Chase as like the poster boys for Yak. So knowing that, I mean, it's just got a Jamar Chase game written all over it. And in the run game, I mean, earlier in the season, we were like, oh, Dallas run defense is horrible. We can just pound the run. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like they've kind of figured it out a little bit more lately.
Yeah, they've been figuring out a little bit more. It's just they're kind of like the Browns. Like they've been starting to get stops here and there, but then they'll give us some explosive plays. And I mean, right now in the last 6 weeks, they're bottom 5 in explosive rush rate and runs. So I mean, they're going to occasionally give it up here. So Chase Brown could definitely do some things.
I mean, the Bengals have been loving using Chase Brown. So I think the Chases should be a big day. Chase Brown, Jamar Chase. I think though that's who we can focus our attention on in terms of player props. On the other side of the ball, we got the Dallas Cowboys offense and the horrid Cincinnati Bengals defense. What are you seeing there?
I mean, what do we not see? It's kind of pick your poison, but I think what was it? The tight ends they've been pretty bad against.
I mean, they've been bad against everything, but yeah, tight ends they've been among the worst.
Specifically, yeah. And I think might even get like a little tight end touchdown here. I think they're giving up like the second highest rated touchdowns to tight ends right now.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number, but that I went to the Steelers game last week, and yeah, that checks.
Yeah. So I mean, who's back this week for tight end? Blanking.
Big Ferg.
Big Ferg. Yep.
No more Luke Schoonmaker.
Yep. He might get a touchdown here. So if you want to sprinkle a little bit on that, you might take a chances.
Yeah, I think if you want to play Ferguson today, that's probably your best bet. His volume isn't high enough for what I think his lines are. His receptions is 4.5. I think that's a touch too high. And his yards are 37.5, which you could take for betting on 4 receptions, but at the same time, he's not exactly a 15 yards per catch player. So you're playing with fire a little bit if we're only expecting 4 catches. So I think if you really want to target the good matchup of Jake Ferguson, as weird, you'll never hear me say this about a player other than this time, the touchdown prop is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, on the Dallas side, Cincinnati hasn't been great versus first options. So CeeDee Lamb is in a good spot, but at the same time, his usage has changed a little bit under Cooper Rush. He's getting a lot of targets still, but his routes the way they're using him and the routes that he's running has been a lot more shallow. So you can do what you want with that information. I think the books have adjusted pretty well to it. Brandon Cooks is back in the mix, only got about 40% snap share last week. Probably expect that to jump to 55, 60 this week, but he's a wide receiver too whenever he's on the field. But at the same time, that hurts Jalen Tolbert. Both of their lines are low. low for a good reason. If you're betting on either one of them, you're really just betting on, is Dallas going to drive down the field multiple times, because you're not going to be getting a high target share for either of them. You're just saying, hey, we're going to hope they're going to throw the ball 40 times instead of 30, because that's the only way you're getting enough opportunity, in my opinion. And Rico Dowdle has just absolutely taken over the backfield. There's no more split share with Zeke and Dalvin Cook. It's just, hey, we're going to get Rico Dowdle the ball 15 or 18 to 20 times a game is what Mike McCarthy said. Whether it's targets or rush attempts, that's what they're looking for. And like we've been saying, this Cincinnati defense, you can target them on the ground, in the air. So if he's getting 20 touches, he should have a good game. The only thing is, Cincinnati's been weirdly good against running backs through the air until last week, where they gave up, I think it was 150 receiving yards to the trio of Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and Cordero Patterson. So it's going to be interesting to see, was that an outlier game because it was a divisional game type of matchup, or did the Steelers just expose something that the teams are just going to all hammer against Cincinnati going forward? So we'll see what happens. Personally, I'd stay away from Rico Dowdle receiving work. I think his rushing work is in play. Anything else to go for there?
Yeah, as far as the rushing work, like the Bengals' run defense is still bad. It's just not as bad with explosive plays as the Cowboys, but still just almost as bad. I think they're like bottom 10 or so. So, I mean, it's something you could take advantage of in the run game. But yeah, like you said, with the passing game, probably stay away from it as far as his receiving.
Yep. All right, parlay time.
Let's do it.
All right. So you guys saw, I can't remember if it was 2 weeks ago or early last week, where we switched up to a new form of parlay where we take the winner of the game, a touchdown score, and our favorite prop in the game. We did really well against it, or last game we hit it. That was the Lions, where we had Lions money line, Montgomery touchdown, and Montgomery rush plus receive. And we're going back to it today. I really like the one we have today, probably even more than the one on Thursday. And it is Cincinnati Bengals -5.5. Every system that I've seen supports them. And while they are 4-8, and the Cowboys are 5-7, everybody always says, "Oh, the Bengals are actually a good team. We don't know how they keep losing games. They're going to get it together eventually." I haven't. I've been pretty strong that I think all the games that they're losing, like, they have talent, but they have deserved to lose these games. This is one where I'm going back on the public side, where I'm saying, hey, they're way better than this Cowboys team. I'm sorry. This Cowboys team is bad. This Bengals team has the talent to make it work, and I think that they should handedly win this game. The next one, Chase Brown touchdown. The Dallas Cowboys are actually second in the NFL in percentage of touchdowns allowed going to rushing touchdowns. Joe Burrow is not going to rush it. And unless they do a jet sweep or something with Jamar Chase, he's not running it. That leaves Chase Brown. His odds are juiced for a good reason. Chase Brown is getting in the end zone. And lastly, Jamar Chase, longest reception. We've talked about the fact that while Dallas is good against the deep ball, they're not good in yards after the catch. They bring pressure. They do blitz a little bit. And for that reason, if Jamar Chase gets a little crosser, catch and run is in the mix. I wouldn't be surprised if we could get a 5-yard reception that's a catch and run for 30, or we could get a 30-yard reception just through the air. It could go either way, and we know Burrow's probably going to throw the ball 40 times, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity, and I think it just makes a lot of sense. All that together with a profit boost on ESPN, they maxed me out at half a unit, so that's what I put, and you can see the odds on the screen up there. We also did another lotto type play, since you guys loved that last time and we were close to hitting it. And we did Bengals up to 9.5, Chase Brown 2 touchdowns, and Jamar Chase to get a 30-yard reception. That together is plus 1466. We put a quarter unit on it. So let's sweat this out, JJ. I'm excited.
I'm ready.
Love it. All right. Appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. And last thing before we let you go, thank you guys so much for 3,000 subscribers. Now we got to get to 4,000. Good luck tonight. Make sure you're tailing, and we'll see you guys on the next video.